Geocachomaniacs.
GeoGearHeads.
Welcome back to GeoGearHeads. This is episode 233, when we're going to be talking about the Geocaching International Film Festival. I'm Daryl W4, back as usual with The Bad Cop. And we have a couple of guests joining us today, but right now only one of them is available because the other fell through a wormhole out there in Seattle traffic. So we don't know when she's going to be coming back. But Reed, welcome to the show and thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Why don't we start off with the obvious question, which is, what is the Geocaching International Film Festival?
Yeah. This is the fourth time we've done it. It's an international invite for all geocachers everywhere to send in a story that's less than 4 minutes on film and hope to be a finalist. And we will choose around 16 films, and those are going to screen at geocaching events worldwide in the fall.
Nice. Now, Reed, many people have seen your work, but haven't seen your face. Can you tell us a little about what you do at geocaching headquarters?
Yeah. So 6 years ago, I started as the very first videographer for geocaching, and that was a time when most of geocaching was very text-based. People were communicating via text and, through logs and at events. And I was hired to tell. We did a program for a year called the Lost and Found Stories of Geocaching. So it was the first time where geocachers got to meet through video some of the people that people talk about. The Richard Garriott, who hit the highest geocache and the lowest geocache, and one of our local people, Dayspring, did a video with us. So, and from there it evolved into a lot of different videos of tutorials and inspirational things, and then somehow GIFF happened.
Now, if I remember from those Lost and Found events, you got to do some pretty decent travel, didn't you?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Where are some of the places you went during that 10-year celebration?
Yeah, so that first year we did mostly things in the United States. So we went down to Texas and Oregon and the east side, Georgia. We went so many places that we did wind up going up to Canada. Yeah, we were traveling often.
Didn't you also go to Germany?
Yeah, so that was after Lost and Found. We did wind up going.
Okay.
We wound up going international and telling some stories in Germany and Czech Republic and other places. I think I hear Alex showing up. Yeah, come on in. She's here.
I'm here.
Yay!
This is us. You can see it here.
Apologies for the lateness, but Seattle traffic is living up to its really, really bad reputation.
Yes. Yes, it is.
Well, thank you for joining us, Alex. And for anyone who's not familiar with you, give us a little bit of a description of what you do over at geocaching.com.
Sure. I'm on the community team at Geocaching, so if you ever email Geocaching with any sort of concerns or help logging in, our team is going to be the ones to answer you. Our team also works on the social media for geocaching, so we write for the geocaching blog, and we maintain a Facebook page and Twitter feed. And then we also work on various other projects independently, such as GIFF. It's something that I kind of jumped on this year, or last year actually, with Reed. And other members of my team work on other things like the geocaching road trip last year, or our upcoming sort of summer special things that are coming up.
Nice. Well, I think you guys have answered one of the big burning questions we've had is, how actually do you pronounce GIFF?
Yeah, we say GIF, but I don't know. We're not opposed to other pronunciations.
Yeah.
We're an international game. Everyone speaks these words differently.
Is it as burning as Saito and Cedo?
Saito, as I like to refer to it.
Yeah, there you go. Nice. Well, we've received questions via email. This one comes from DeBear. He says, question for the GIF expert. GIF is how I tend to pronounce it.
Yeah,
I'm going to cover all bases, and that way I offend everybody equally. So according to the guy who invented it, the image format, known as GIF, is pronounced GIF. Is GIF pronounced the same way? So there you go.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell us, I read you touched on it briefly, but what's the history behind this International Film Festival?
Yeah, we we're spending all of our time telling stories through our perspective, and we were coming up to the block party, and the person on staff who was planning the block party told me she had access through someone she knew to a really big inflatable screen. She's like, what could we do? And at first we said, oh, we'll just play Splinter Heads, and then we were like, or what if we? And then I said, what if we do a film festival? And then she did a dance, and then the film festival was born. And so it was a sort of a fun, goofy idea in the moment, and then it became this beautiful way that it's not just us trying to represent geocaching. We are now using our microphone, our spotlight that we get a lot of Facebook views, and we're able to use that spotlight to promote community stories.
Well, and until last year, it was always just the one night at the block party. Yep. It never really made its way out, except you guys had it on a web page, as I recall, the individual submissions.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
But it never made it into events or anything. And then last year, for the first time, you actually had the local events.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that kind of also happened accidentally.
Sort of.
So GIF was going to be screened at Block Party, just like the other years. And then following something like a record number of days without rain for Seattle, we had one incredible thunderstorm on the night of GIF. And so just by horrible luck, we had to cancel the event, unfortunately. But knowing that people had put so much effort into making these awesome films, and we had seen them and wanted to share them with people, we thought of other ways that we could do that, and basically came up with the idea of having kind of these international movie nights. And I think it worked out really well, because I think it actually worked out better for both the filmmakers who had their films seen by so many more people, and for geocachers around the world who wouldn't have all been able to fly to Seattle for the main event anyway.
Yeah, I think... Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. Oh, okay, fine. I think it did work out a lot better. And one of the interesting things that seems to have come of it is we're finding some of the local cachers are either before or after screening some videos that they or some of their locals have produced that maybe didn't make it in for the film festival in time.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Right, yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah, we love being able to see how people are making it their own. So instead of 1,000 people seeing it in Seattle, many thousands of people are seeing it worldwide, and it's not the way, again, like it's taking it away from us and making it a community thing.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
So, what's on tap for this year? What are you looking at for the film festival? Is it going to be basically the same as last year?
It is, yeah. We're asking for submissions right now, and you can still submit film until August 1st is the deadline to submit films, which we'd love to see more come in, and we're really hoping to see some awesome ones, possibly some repeat filmmakers from last year. Once we get enough films submitted, and after the deadline of August 1st, we'll be reviewing them. A panel of judges is going to sort of narrow down the films and come to this final selection of about an hour of films altogether is what we shoot for, and that'll vary a bit depending on how many awesome ones. If we have to squeeze in more, that's fine. And then come November 3rd through 7th is going to be GIFF weekend. We're actually expanding it to another day this year, so it's going to be a Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, 5 days long. Because it was just so great last year, and there were so many events, and we thought that we could probably squeeze another day out of it.
5 days is my kind of weekend.
Yeah, yeah. We could actually this year we're trying to move away from the weekend part of it, just call it GIFF because really that's what it is. Yeah.
Nice. So you're going to have 16 finalists that are selected by a panel. What are the prizes that you're handing out? Some of these are incredible.
Yeah, absolutely. So it takes a lot of work to make a film. I know personally, and we recognize that for every person that puts in a film, regardless if they're finalists. And for the people that do become finalists, if you are one of those 16 people, you will get a 1-year premium membership, and we send goodies and other sweet things. But that's the big prize, is a 1-year premium membership. And then so we have a team of judges at Geocaching HQ that narrows that down. But then once we've narrowed them down, we're going to send those out to another panel of community volunteers, and they will select what we're calling this year the Signal Award. And so that will be a best of the fest type thing, type award, and that's a 5-year premium membership.
Wow. That's impressive. So obviously you have to be a professional filmmaker to even get into the consideration, into the running for this, right?
I don't think so.
Oh.
No. I think things could be made on an iPhone and could make it in. Not shaken around, but I think we have so much capability within these little things to tell a story. And geocaching is full of stories. So
yeah. And we don't know the histories of every person who's been a finalist the last few years, but I can say for sure that most of them just had a really great idea and had enough time to put into it and decided to make a film. Yeah.
Well, and this year you actually have a theme for the submissions. Can you tell us what the theme is and what it really means in the scope of the films?
Absolutely. Yeah, so we thought it's a common thing in film festivals. For me, when I submit to other film festivals or I'm part of things, it is nice that there's some kind of theme that helps you narrow down what your creative process is, gives you something of a parameter. And so this year we came up with story-worthy moments, which is still very broad, but it could give you just some kind of inspiration within that to tell your own geocaching story. Mm-hmm.
And then what are some of the things that the entries are judged on so people know what to shoot for?
Mm-hmm. Production quality is a pretty important one. We love to see films that are clean and where the audio is pretty good. Can I go back?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, if you can imagine your piece being shown on a big screen, you want it to be heard and seen well. If it's shaking around a lot, that's going to be challenging for people to focus.
The new thing that people are going for?
Yeah, I mean, there's like shake on purpose or whatever. And that's different than just not having any kind of
exactly.
Maybe if you're climbing a mountain with a GoPro.
Okay.
Yeah, right.
The films obviously have to be tied to geocaching, and we really like to see originality. We love all stories, and especially love geocaching love stories, because they're wonderful. But we do see those a lot, and if you have a special way to show that moment, and that's the story you have to tell, then great, send it in. But original ideas is really important too.
Yeah, and as judges, we have a criteria specifically. So it is the production quality and family friendly and contribution to the game, and so we're looking for things like that. And then like Alex was saying, originality. And one thing I've been thinking about after watching 3 years of submissions is we get a lot of montages or photos, and they don't always tell a story. So it's nice, but because we don't know those people, we don't necessarily know what that story is. And so one thing that I think could be a sweet pro tip for folks this year is if that's your capacity, that's what you're going to do, rad. But if you can put some kind of voiceover to that experience, which is you could do that with an iPhone as well, and then tell us what do these things mean to you, and do it in a short, simple way. That would boost up those stories a lot.
Yeah, yeah. Have a series of still pictures, but have it flow with the story that you're telling. That would make a lot of sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, or simple video stuff still.
Nice.
And all of this has to be in by August 1st.
Yep.
Then you take a month or so to judge them and announce the finalists. And that you said that goes out to another broader panel to make the final decisions.
That'll be the final decision for the Signal Award. So
Correct, right.
Internally, we'll do the top films, and then Best of the Fest will go. Signal Award will go to.
Now, as an example, how many films do you think you received last year? How many submissions?
Yeah, I can tell you. So it was around 100 the very first year, and then it dropped to about 60 the second year, and then we were back up to 80 this past year.
Okay.
Ballpark.
So there's a pretty good chance that someone could become one of those finalists.
Absolutely. Yeah, those are pretty good odds, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, better than a lot of film festivals. So.
Oh, yeah.
So, we hope to be ever expanding, so maybe it won't always be that number.
Yeah, we expect to get more this year. I don't know if it's foolish hope, but the fact that we busted out to international events and we got the word out in a totally different way. And so I'm hoping to see other participants this year.
Yeah.
Well, and from those older submissions, the ones from the last few years, are there maybe one or two that you think were really exceptional that people should go check out?
That's a cool question.
Well, I think that we all have our personal favorites, and for different reasons. Like you might see something in one video that you relate to more. I'm going to say check them all out. There's 16 films from last year, and it's an hour. It's about an hour, and everyone has an hour. So check them all out. I think that my personal favorite is probably How to Geocache Like a Ballerina. I really enjoyed the sort of the jokey clash of geocaching and this completely other random hobby that this filmmaker, Abby, her name is, had, and she decided to bring these two together. So it was this wonderfully personal story for her about how she's a ballerina, like pretty serious ballerina, and she also goes geocaching, and why not combine them in this kind of comical way? And I love that. So, yeah.
Well, I seem to remember watching that one and thinking this was probably something that they just shot on their phone.
Huh, maybe. I don't know, because that video has like a dolly shot in it. I think somebody in that family is a professional filmmaker.
Yeah. Well, and that's one of the reasons I think that I was, thinking it was the camera, or the phone is the camera, because you see so many more creative shots from people with the phone cameras. But it wasn't that complex. They played with it. They did some experimentation, and that's one where there was no voiceover.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's a beautiful example of telling a story without words.
Yeah. They did no spoken word whatsoever. It was just the music and the visuals.
Mm-hmm. There were a few, at least, that were like that from last year, or maybe at least one other Saturday with the dog.
With the dog, I want to say there were words at the beginning and end.
Yeah,
yes.
Sure. Yeah.
From that
the
character.
dog, Saturday is the one that I remember the most.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We just posted one yesterday, GeoLove, which is, again, it's another geocaching love story, which we've seen a lot of, but they did such a unique, they did it all in one take. If you remember that one. So it's the story of how they met through geocaching, and they're going to different scenes of their relationship up to marriage, but it's all in one film take. But they're just in a field, like it doesn't sound, it's not Hitchcock,
Mm-hmm. No, exactly. I remember that one, and after changing scenes 2 or 3 times, I realized this is all one take.
And as I recall, again, there were no voiceovers or spoken word or anything. But I kept looking at that one going, they were inspired by OK Go.
Yeah, right. A little smaller budget.
Well, the first OK Go one, the one on the treadmills,
that's
no budget.
Yep, that's right.
And
now
it felt very much
on
like
the plane. I think they
on the
probably
Comet?
Oh, yeah.
On the weightless plane. I was like, they trashed the plane at the end. How expensive was that?
Yeah.
Yeah, they OK Go does some awesome stuff, but you never really expect to see that in something like a geocaching film festival.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah, why not? Exactly.
It takes
Why not? Next year.
it takes an awful lot of time. I don't imagine many geocachers want to take that much time away from their caching.
Yeah.
And
Alex,
who doesn't have
did you
6
hear Alex? Who doesn't have what?
Who doesn't have 6 treadmills at home?
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah. Anyone could do it. Alex just said why not is going to be the next year's theme.
Oh,
Look out for that.
there you go.
Why not?
All right, so technically, how are people to actually get those submissions in?
Yeah, well, we have a fancy new website this year that tells you everything from tips to get in to you could see all the last 3 years' films, and within there is the submission form that goes right to us.
Yeah.
What is that fancy new website?
GeocachingFilmFestival.com.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
We designed it ourselves.
We really did. Yeah, and I mean, they'll need to actually submit their films. They'll have to upload them to Vimeo and send us the Vimeo link, have it password protected.
Sure.
Yeah,
so technically.
Yeah, so they don't have to worry about getting it into a specific format and sending it to you guys. It's all handled through Vimeo.
That's right. Yeah, whatever Vimeo will accept.
And then for the people who are actually interested in hosting one of the film festivals, what are the requirements there, and when do they have to make their plans final and get those event submissions in?
So, like any geocaching event, they can submit the listing online 3 months prior, which is August 3rd would be the first date. If you want to have an event on September 30th or November 3rd, you could submit the listing on August 3rd, so you can start in the summer, and you can start planning already. They'll need to submit the listing online, have it reviewed just like any other event by a reviewer, and published, and then they need to submit a second form, which comes directly to us, and we kind of we vet the events to make sure they say, you know, yes, they have equipment to show the film somehow. We make sure that it is published on geocaching.com and a few other things. And once that's done, it's a little bit of a waiting game for the event hosts because closer to the weekend itself, closer to November 3rd, we'll send them the entire film reel in a file, and they'll be able to show it. And in the meantime, I mean, it's not a waiting game. They can be doing plenty of planning, and based on the events we saw last year, there were some incredible GIFF events. I mean, people put so much energy into making such cool things that I don't think anyone's going to be idle for the next few months. But, yeah.
Nice.
And that,
I know. Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say that info is going to be online as well on geocachingfilmfestival.com. That'll be the kind of the go-to resource for event hosts.
Nice. You were talking about events. I know that there was an event in my neck of the woods up in BC that was a black tie affair with a red carpet and the whole bit. So
yeah,
that was a lot of fun.
People sent in such great photos. We spent days afterwards getting emails from event hosts, and we would email back and forth saying, "Oh my gosh, look what these people did, and look what these people did."
Yeah.
It was wonderfully, validating, I guess, to see just this people having so much fun, good times.
It was the highlight of our fall for sure.
Yeah.
Well, were there any of those events that did something really cool that you think would work well for other hosts?
We saw a lot of really creative use of the the art that was the film festival art that Geocaching HQ put out, and we put it out kind of thinking like, oh, if you want to put this on your cache page, this little photo with the GIFF logo, blah, blah, blah. And people just went wild. They had specially printed popcorn bags with GIFF and had made
tickets.
Yeah, tickets and cake. We saw a cake with the GIFF logo, like this big at one event, professionally made. Yeah. They made little awards that they were actually mailing to the filmmakers who their audience had decided was the best film. They mailed them to these filmmakers across the world.
Well, that's one of the interesting things I remember was doing the voting at our film festival so that we could pick which one our audience liked the best.
Yeah, which isn't a requirement from us, and we're not going to try and organize that because that would be a mess. But it meant so much to those filmmakers to hear from individual events, just what they'd come up with.
So you're not going to plan on sending out the dial systems and everything so that they can rate the
Yeah. Oh man, can you imagine?
Yeah.
No, I think it's great. I think it's great in a different way to see the voting happening in different places, because it wasn't like an across-the-board winner, really. From reports that we got, obviously we didn't get all of these, the voting results. But different events around the world picked different favorites, and I think that it was really special to see and recognize a bunch of films. Yeah.
Well, I would imagine that different locations have different types of caching, and certain videos just resonate more with those than others.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, like one of the films last year by Mudmen about their mountain climbing expedition, that was like a type of extreme caching that a lot of people don't ever do because it's not their thing, but it's definitely a thing for a lot of people, and especially in Germany, extreme caching is quite popular.
Yeah. I, for one, am kind of hoping for some of the Forgotten Places videos this year.
Yeah.
Man, that would be great.
Yeah.
They have permission to film.
Right. Right. Permission to have geocaches there as well.
Right, yeah. Guidelines are good. Yeah.
Yeah, that's one of the things we don't get much of in the U.S. are those Forgotten Places ones.
Yeah.
And that's something actually we've had to not accept a film for before is because they showed us a certain type of geocaching that was really cool, but it was just against the guidelines. So it was like some really creative geocacher who also was making bomb caches, which was creative and great, but it wasn't. It was something that we could not back as something to do.
Yeah.
So there's an important tip for the submissions as well. Make sure that whatever cache you're hunting is following all the guidelines.
Yeah, and we asked as well that if you're going to show a geocache, that you have permission to show it. If you do wind up spoiling it, it's just a respect.
Yeah. Spoilers.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. One of the things is you'd mentioned international. Not everyone speaks English.
Yep.
Or German or what have you. So what should you do for multi-language support, I'll say, on these films?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we ask, unfortunately, just for our capacity, we ask that if you do submit something in another language that is not English, that you have English subtitles. And then you can speak a little bit to what events have done in the past.
Yeah, we last year there were some really great efforts on the part of event hosts and various geocaching groups and individuals to actually translate all of the films into their native language. Really, truly, like an hour of dialogue, and put subtitles on them for their events. It was just amazing to see that from, I think it was Slovenia. The Slovenia event did that. It was really great.
So we're going to try and set up this year so that those folks are set up even more for success to do that, and we can get it in as many different languages. And if somebody from Slovenia is doing it, we can take that same file and give it to all the people that speak that language in that area.
Mm-hmm.
That would be ideal for them, I guess.
Yeah, that would be very, very cool. Now, after the film festivals are all over, this is going to appear on the geocachingfilmfestival.com site, but is it going to be available for maybe someone who's hosting a night event or something like that where they might want to show the entire festival?
Yeah, so it will only be available for those 5 days.
Mm-hmm.
For those 5 days, and we provide the file to the event hosts, and then that's their opportunity. And then beyond that, if you want to see the films, they will be online eventually, but they will. We also offer that as for our mega event hosts to screen, so that's part of the package. If you host a mega or a giga, you can get the file if you have a way to screen the giga.
Interesting.
So they do they stay a little bit exclusive for a while after GIFF because they're being shown at these events. Yeah. But eventually they are put online. We've put all of the last few years' films on GeoGearHeads.com and also on our Vimeo channel, which is just vimeo.com/geocaching.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I know that a number of the mega events look for ways to show those films just as a way of getting everyone together after your typical mega event.
Yeah, it's such a nice event. It's a different thing to do. Mm-hmm.
Do the event hosts of the film festivals need to contact you, or will you know, working at geocaching headquarters, that they're planning an event?
They do have to contact us. They do that through a form that's going to be on geocachingfilmfestival.com this year. Last year it was just a Google form we linked to in various places. But since we have a centralized website, they'll need to go there and submit the form, and that goes to us. And that's their way of saying, I want to be included in this pool of official events that will get the reel. Because otherwise we don't have a way of separating like GIFF events on the site from other regular cache events that might be happening at the same time. So we need to know who to send the reel to. So submit that form. You'll hear from us, and then we'll send you the reel in late September, basically, or mid-September.
Sure.
Are you guys going to submit something?
I'm not going to do it this year, at least.
Well, not together. I'm still I'm still working something up, so I don't have a lot of time left. Got about 6 weeks.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Even if it's like 11:59 p.m. Pacific time, I guess.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Don't give me that option.
You'd be surprised at how many people seem to do that.
We had a moment the other day. We were like, what's the history of when people submit? And I think every year I've gotten nervous that we're not going to get enough submissions. And then 48 hours before the deadline, they just started rolling. And we went and checked, and we were like, yep, July 1st.
Yeah, really. Last year was a month earlier. So.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, well, and I'm sure that Reed knows this very well. Most of the people I know who are editors, they don't want to turn that over any earlier than they have to, because it's always, if I just change, if I get rid of like 4 frames here, it's going to be better.
Exactly. That's right.
Mm-hmm. Would you accept it at 12:01?
Oh.
Yes.
No.
There's not a consensus in the room.
Yeah.
It depends on the bribe.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, yeah.
You got to make sure to send the appropriate bribes to
it depends on the experience.
Yeah.
Well, White Coaster asked if, for the non-video people out there, how about a photo contest? Maybe 1 submission per person so you don't get flooded. That doesn't seem very film-like to me, though.
No, well, I can see that being housed separately to GIFF. We've talked about having film contests before. The team that I'm on, the community team, does stuff like that before. We've definitely had kind of like Instagram photo contests before, and tossed around the idea of doing like short camera phone video films, like a 15-second. What does geocaching need to do? That sort of thing. So it's not out of the question. And thank you for bringing it up, because I still think it's a good idea. And I will mention it tomorrow.
Almost Vine-like. And you could still call it GIFF. It would be the Geocaching International Photo Festival.
Right.
But it's still the same sound. It's just you still
got
the
PA, or in Germany it's F. So
there you go. Yeah, see.
Yeah, I could see that being really cool. Print up a couple dozen finalists. Have a traveling show going to the mega events or something like that. But it does get to be a lot more work than just shipping around a file.
Yeah,
exactly.
Physical.
Totally.
Yeah. No, but that's a good idea.
Mm-hmm.
Team Aviju in the live Q&A said, yeah, because Facebook doesn't have enough photos of people holding containers.
Gosh, yeah, I think you'd have to be a lot more original in a single frame.
Totally.
Like, you really have to stand out.
I have been getting into a lot of the photos from geocachers on Instagram, and just the really, really cool caches that they're finding and posting there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, my coworker Carly is kind of our Instagram guru, if I can use that term. And I'm a little jealous of her job because she gets to look at all these amazing photos. Though it's a bit of a running joke that geocachers take photos of beautiful views with a GPS placed squarely in the middle of them, or a cache or something, just ruining the view. I wanted to make an album of that one time.
Yeah.
Oh, that would be an interesting album for sure. But yeah, it seems like since at least 2005 when I got started, you'll find on the cache pages lots and lots of photos with the GPS down in the corner or center or whatever, but it's like always been there.
Yeah.
Until the iPhone started really taking over and people started using that as their camera and GPS, because then they didn't have the GPS to stick in the middle of the frame.
Right. Yeah. Right. Huh. Interesting. You have to substitute it with a cache or a foot or a hand or something.
Yeah.
Well, that used to be a login requirement for something, or caches.
Earth caches and virtuals before that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, a lot of the virtuals, actually, you were required to be in the photo with your GPS.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's grandfathered ones where that's happening. It's murky. It's murky, though.
You have to work it with a mirror somehow.
Yeah,
right.
You just bring a giant, like 4 by 8 foot mirror with you everywhere you go.
Well, you do anyway for selfies.
Right.
Oh, that's...
Oh, at least I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Take a full-length mirror with me everywhere for selfies. No.
We've seen geocachers do weirder things, to be honest.
Yeah.
Huge trackables.
Oh, man, yeah. They're 4 by 8 foot travel bug.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Or the VW Bug or the Jeep Wrangler.
Yeah. Someone brought a car door to Block Party last year or the year before. Just a car door,
Just a car door,
with a trackable on it.
With a tag on it.
Yeah.
And a cinder block and all sorts of things.
Yeah.
Why?
One of the more interesting ones I remember is someone made a super large geocoin. It's the size of a manhole cover.
Oh, wow.
Huh.
And it's almost as heavy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds... There's not many caches you could fit that into. I don't think you can even fit that in an HQ cache.
No, I don't think you can. That's a little big for that.
There's plenty of room in the lobby.
Yeah.
That's true. Sometimes they just place them. We had for a long time a sombrero trackable. I think that just got taken, but it was like this big. You can't see, but it was huge.
Yeah.
Yeah, Team Avenue says last one at the event takes all of the trackables, and that's one of the problems. You'll get those tires and the traffic cones, that kind of stuff that no one wants to deal with.
Yeah.
That the event host has to take
That's
home.
why you gotta leave after 20 minutes,
Right. This is why I stopped hosting events.
Yeah.
What am I going to do with this?
All right. Thank you very much for joining us. Before we go, is there anything that you can think of that we might have missed?
There is going to be a little bit new artwork this year out. You might have seen some already, but it's going to be the kind of stuff that event hosts can play with and do the kind of things they did last year with. Just
bigger cakes.
Yeah,
Exactly.
cakes, and then please send them to us just for quality assurance.
One
Okay.
slice. Yeah, you can see a sneak peek on our website that we designed. No big deal. On the events page, there's a little sneak peek at the design for this year.
And there's I was going to say there's going to be a cool HQ made video that's also going to be part of the reel, and Reed's working on it this week.
Just finished it today.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
very cool.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Yeah.
Should we hound you for answers, or are you just going to tell us?
For what? For what it is?
For what it is, yeah.
Well, it will actually go out into the social sphere before it plays a GIF. So you will see very soon. I will tell you the hint. I will tell you one thing. It is very cute.
Mm.
Yeah.
Cute videos do well.
Does it involve hamsters?
No, but we should go back to that. Yeah.
Another thing just came to mind that we should probably mention is that if you're going to use music, you need to have rights to the music.
That's right.
Yeah. Good point. Yeah.
Yeah, and you've got that on the webpage.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that is a
International Film
total
Festival.
tip. It's just read those things. It's a long. Get a snack and some coffee and read through those. Make sure, because we are not shy about disqualifying for not following those rules.
Right.
But there's the website does, I think, have some recommendations for free music libraries.
Yep.
So, helpful.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today. And again, the best place to get a hold of you guys is to go to geocachingfilmfestival.com.
Yep.
Correct?
That's where all the info is.
Yep, and you can contact us through the site, too.
Perfect.
Mm-hmm.
And we have a bunch of great shows coming up, including another one with someone from geocaching.com next week. And Ben is going to be talking with us about the search engine over there.
Cool.
Then on June 30th is going to be our next randomized show. We got a whole bunch of stuff to talk about for that one, Chris.
Maybe more than can fit in one show, Daryl.
I'm sure, because I was just looking at it today as I added yet one more thing to it, thinking this isn't going to make it. This is going to have to go to the patron show. And then we're going to be talking on July 7th with a really cool hider, Lullaby for You. Then Chris Rockchalk is going to be back on July 14th to talk about the geocaching.com guidelines. And you know what? I know that there's going to be a lot of discussion in that one about those new rules for challenge caches.
Oh, that has become a hot topic, hasn't it?
It has indeed.
But
he's the one to talk to.
He really is. Until then, be sure to check out the Cachemaniacs website at cachemaniacs.com for more on the GeoGearHeads, including show notes from this and all of our episodes. We love hearing from our listeners, so leave us feedback by emailing geogearheads at cachemaniacs.com or through social media. Your support helps keep the Cachemaniac shows coming. Please consider becoming a patron through the link on our website to support the Cachemaniac shows. GeoGearHeads is produced by Chris Umfenauer and Daryl Wattenberg. This show's copyright 2016 by Daryl Wattenberg. All rights reserved.
Cache with the Cachemaniacs.